Hi. Um,
Hi. So
uh,
welcome to the team. I'm just going to run through a few different spreadsheets on the way that I would do the placements of students. And if you've got any questions, just feel free to shout out. So the first spreadsheet we're going to look at is called the Inquiry Master. Let me just get it.
okay.
And these will all be shared. You'll get the links with them. So this is the Inquiry Master. Basically what this is if we get any inquiries in from anywhere, it gets logged here so that we know who we've been speaking to, and we take down all the details. So you'll get an inquiry number, and this will be the invoice number. It'll tell you whether it's missing or whether we've received an invoice, the date of the inquiry year, the inquiry month, what status we're at. So there's a number of different statuses. So you have active, confirmed, inquiry, cancelled, submitted, and writing. So then we have the inquiry active date, inquiry active year, inquiry active month, and when it's been cancelled. So if it has been cancelled, we do like to have that put in there, and then comments as to why it's being cancelled. You then do your contact name, the project coordinator, project manager, company name, the program name, and the partnership type. And then you fill in all these details. So this is all the contact details and what type of work or project they're looking for. Um, so if you're doing work experience, for the most part, you won't be filling in the first half of this. It'll be more for a reference of what's coming up for you. So let's just have a look and I'll show you how to filter it to find out. So the way that I would do it is we filter for, I think I've already got this filtered. I've filtered for Dublin here, but the best way to do it is to do it in the future. So what we do is we go into the date of arrival. I have it filtered for 2024, and then we'll have a look at, let's say, January and February to see what's coming up. And then this is showing us now all the projects that are coming up in Dublin for January and February 2024. It has everything. So everything, every inquiry that might be happening. And then generally for the work experience, we will filter to confirmed and active so that we can see what we'll be working on in the future.
the inquiry, what do you call the inquiry? Is the calls that you do, or
If we
it?
receive a question, let's say someone sends an email in or a query through Facebook or gives a phone call and says, oh, I'm interested, it gets logged here so that we know that somebody is working on it, so it doesn't get missed. Um, Once the inquiry is confirmed, it gets moved to this part here. The inquiry status will be confirmed and then active.
And these dates are the dates of arrival of the students.
These dates here are the dates of the inquiry active. The dates of arrival are over here. So what happens then is the project number gets allocated. So this would be the number that we would use on the work experience. So the inquiry goes active and then a project number is set up. The project coordinator should be then setting up a folder and putting in CVs or any information we need to know. And then they will then set up what's called a master list for us to work off. And they'll put in the names of the students coming and what their level of English. And it'll have accommodation section and it'll have the employment section, which would be our section. Tatiana would then complete the accommodation section and we would work off the work placement section. So this will be here. So if you scroll right over, the dates of arrival and dates of a departure and how many people are coming. If you move back over this way, it tells you as well what type of project they're looking for.
Yes. the same group of students may have different package. I don't know if being made myself understood. They arrived, but some of them chose a higher paid package and a budget, a higher budget, and another chose a lower budget.
So the groups will be arriving together. So say you've got a group of a school coming together, they'll all be on the same package. And then if it's a different school, so they may or may not all be arriving at the same time. But what we would do is once we get confirmation, we set up the project folder and then we start to look for placements for them. Give me 1 second. I'm just going to get
But the placements for them depends on their budget, correct?
no.
Oh no. Okay.
So
So
the placement.
yeah.
So they've already paid their package, and we'll get told what placements they're looking for. We won't worry about what their budget is for the placements. We just get told we have X amount of hours, say 10 hours, to place 5 students in this type of industry.
Uh, place 5 students on a determined type of industry.
Yeah, so depending on whatever group. So say we could get a group of 13 coming in, and 5 of them want retail and 2 of them want hospitality, and then a group of them want IT. We would probably get more hours allocated for the IT because it would be more difficult to find, but we will get allocated hours to place the students.
Yes, on that allocated is give them a company where they can work on that industry. Is it not true?
I'm sorry, I don't understand what you mean.
Yes, they need to be allocated. They need to
No,
we need to
no,
arrange them a house to be with.
no, we don't arrange the house. Tatiana does the accommodation. She'll arrange the host. We just reach out to the companies to place them within those companies. But you will receive an allocated amount of time. So Kat will say to you, you have 10 hours and you have this range of students, and you must place these. You can spend 10 hours placing these students.
So I need to contact the companies on a determined industry, correct?
Yes.
But my question is, in what kind of zone of Lisbon I'm going to do that?
Well, that will depend on where they're being placed. So as we get the groups in, Tatiana will place them in accommodation, and then we will work off that. So I can't tell you specifically.
Yeah,
It'll change within each group. I can't
yes,
specifically say it's only ever going to be one place.
of course, of course. The placement is done first. No, the accommodation is done first, and then
Sometimes if you
according to
find a
the
placement,
accommodation, we do the placement.
it depends. It's whoever. So in Dublin, we would start working together. And if I get a placement first, Tatiana would try and find accommodation close to the placement. But if Tatiana finds accommodation first, I would try and find the placement near the accommodation. So we work as a team to try and get them placed and living near each other.
Yes, I understand. Yes, I am understanding a little bit more now.
Yeah, okay.
But in terms of the placement, we contact the companies, correct?
Yes, so we have another spreadsheet for that. Just bear with me and I'll get it up. 1 second. So we have this spreadsheet, and it's called the Work Placement Master. And this is predominantly ours for the placement of students. So what we do is for every company, like, so for example, if someone came in to Dublin and said, I want to place 15 students in a hotel, what I would do is I would filter this as an initial start off point. and I can filter it to, sorry, it's glitching there. I bring it across, oh, it's doing that. And I would filter it to Ireland. And then I would do another filter here in hotel. And as an initial jump off point, I would reach out to the hotels that we already have on file, and try and place off people that we've already contacted or have previously placed before. So you'll see that some of the work placements have said interested. So you would reach out to the ones that are interested and then waiting for a response. Um, After that, then what I usually do is I would do a Google search for hotels and basically just go through each hotel. And for every hotel or every business that I would contact, I would fill it in. So you do your date of contact, your last contact date, the work placement contact, the staff name, which would be your name, the work placement type, the work placement contact status. So whether we're still pending a response or they've said they're interested or they've said not interested would all go in here. The method of contact would be, the way I do it is I generally will send an email and then the next day I will pick up the phone and do a follow-up call to make sure that the email's been received and gauge the level of interest. And then we get their contact response. The sector would be what type of sector it is. So you put in hotel or architect or whatever type of business it is. If you can't find the sector there, flag it to me and I will update it so that it pulls in. This column here, J, will automatically populate based on your whatever sector you fill in. And then we just put their details, their contract, their country. This again will auto populate, put in their phone number, and then contact email. So we use this as a jump off point. So when you're looking for a placement, say it's in IT, you'll be able to filter this to see. So if we change this, say for, we move it and we change the country to Portugal. These are all the hotels that we've reached out to in Portugal. They've all been logged and we can tell if they've been interested or not suitable or they're waiting for a response. And then we would reach out to them and try and get placed with people that we've used before. And then after that, we would then start logging new companies. Yeah.
Yes, I understand. But when we do the research, do you have a database where I can contact the companies, or I am going to do the research from scratch? I don't have leads, I don't have nothing, and I go to Google and I simply put the name of the industry, Lisbon, and then the Google will give me determine a number of companies
Yeah.
that
So
work
I
on
would,
that in Lisbon, for instance, and on that in industry. Let us say IT. We go there, and we have a number of companies that work on IT, and we contact the email. We contact through email to the company, but it's with the HR department, correct?
so it really depends on company to company. I know that in Ireland, they prefer you to email and then ring and then they can
Yes,
say, oh,
yes,
we've got it.
definitely email first is better. Yeah.
Yeah, but it depends because also it depends. In Portugal, would they prefer you to ring and then send an email? So it's on country to country. So whatever you think is best, you might not get the HR department's email straight away. So you might have to ring up to get that. um, generally they have info emails on their websites, and
Well,
then when you
yes,
send an info email, it could get lost. So
yes. On companies that are digitalized, they have a site where we can contact them, and some of the companies have a question area where we can write all the questions that we have, and I might try that approach. Correct?
yeah,
And I try that approach on the questions just to see if they are interested in receiving students um, from Europe. It's only from Europe, correct?
yeah.
Or they can come from USA or Brazil or
Well,
uh,
at the minute it's on the Erasmus scheme, but we'll be able to tell you where the students are coming from. So you'll be reaching out and saying we have German students or we have Spanish students, and you will have that information before you start reaching out. So the
yes,
information that you will have before you start reaching out is you will have the age of the students, where they're from, what generally what level of language they have. You'll also have their CV, and we should have on file their insurance documentation, so that if a company asks for it, you'll be able to provide all those things straight away. They would all be saved down in
they
the
have
folder.
they have insurance,
Yeah, they'll have their own liability insurance. Each student will have it.
liability insurance. What
Yeah,
does that cover?
it depends on their policy, but it would be different for each. But it would cover if they get hurt or if they
They have
damage
an
anything in
accident
the
at
company.
work. It covers that
Yeah,
liability
yeah,
insurance covers any accident at work,
yeah.
because I will need to clarify that in case they ask me to.
Well, you can just provide it. You won't need to say, go into the detail. You can say they all have their own liability insurance, and then you can say which we can provide for you.
Yes, I know the students come within an European program of work experience where they some of the things are paid within that European program, EU program.
Yeah.
Is it not? I've read your site. That's why I'm saying that. But I need to know. Um, in case that the company answers me my questions towards that, is that I need to tell them that they're receiving people for training, and the advantage for them is that they are not paying, they are
No,
not
it's unpaid because they are funded by Erasmus. So the the placements, the work experience, the internships are all unpaid. So it's free labor.
So I know it's free human resources that
Yeah.
they're receiving, and that's the advantage. But I know that the company has to do communications in English because they eventually might not speak Portuguese. Um, is this part paid by the program, the communications in English?
No.
I don't know if the companies are used to have an international company, international teams, you see, and in that case, I might as well choose international companies so they won't be so different or so strange to prepare communications in English. Or am I able to say I will help you do the communications in English? No, that's not my job.
Um, So because I only speak English, when I have reached out to places in Portugal in the past, I've written the email in English. So if they respond in English, they respond in English. But we do let them know that the kids, what languages the kids speak. So if they say no, they say no, and then you move on to the next company.
Yes, yes, I understand. If they say no, they say no. We do not insist. Of course, it's a no. It's a no. But as I'm trying to explain the advantage to the employer, they are having free human resources. In that time, they don't have to pay anything. But the communication should be only in English because they do not speak Portuguese.
Would you don't need to specify that. You would just let them know that they don't speak Portuguese and they can communicate in these different languages, but you don't need to specify that communication can only be in English. So for the initial reach outs, I have got templates of what I would say in an email, and basically it introduces yourself and says who you are, and then goes on to say how many students and says that they're covered for liability. So I can forward you on some of the previous emails that I've used in the past. And what I do when I'm ringing up is I have the email open in front of me so that I basically read it like a script and say, oh, hi, my name is Brona. I'm ringing from the Work Experience Agency. Um, our company facilitates Erasmus schemes, and we're currently trying to place students in the work experience unpaid within your industry. Are you interested? Can I send you some CVs? And they'll either say yes or no. And then you get an email and you send the CVs, and then they'll come back to you. I wouldn't go into the specifics of you must speak English, and if they're interested in taking them, they'll read their CVs and know that they don't speak Portuguese, and they'll either say yes or no. It's just to get the initial interest.
Yes, yes, I understand. It's to get the initial interest, and uh, we contact the companies, giving that information that they will receive students from Erasmus. In order to have work experience, they need to spend some time doing a training, and that training is not paid by a company, so you will receive help, not unpaid help.
Yeah.
This is what is supposed to do. Okay, and you can communicate on these languages, on this or this. I'll give several alternatives. And what is your rate of response from the companies?
That really depends on what type of company and what time of year it is. I couldn't tell you whether, like for example, this week I was reaching out to schools and I reached out to 170 schools and got two people saying yes. So, but if you reach out to hotels, you'll get a better rate because hotels are looking for staff. It just really depends on the industry. So you really just have to take it on the chin and keep going, because eventually we do get them all placed. Sometimes it's harder than others, but it does happen. So you just have to keep going and think outside the box sometimes, particularly with the IT students.
Mostly they are IT students, that what you're telling me.
No, it's just I fixate on IT because they're the hardest ones to place. But we've had administration, we've had nursing, we've had childcare.
You know,
It's a wide range.
hotels or hostels, they have an IT section as well.
Yeah.
Uh, and what kind of program languages do they work on?
See, that's individual, so I wouldn't be able to answer that until I get the CVs. So each school will send CVs, and you will have to just modify what you're saying in your emails dependent on which group is coming in. They're not the same every time. Sometimes you'll have French students that speak Spanish, and
The only thing, I'll try this and this will work. It's not, I'm not thinking negatively, but is 10 hours enough to place the students in companies?
yeah. So what will happen is when you're coming close to your 10-hour limit, you flag it and say to myself, "Oh, I say we have 10 students, and you're given 10 hours to place the 10 students, um, and you're coming up to the 10 hours, and you've only placed 5. All you have to do is flag it, and I'll say, right, leave it with me, and then we'll go off and I'll speak to Kat, and we'll see if we can get you more hours. So when you're coming up to your 10 hours, you let us know, because we might be able to pull resources from somewhere else to help you. But it's basically you need to get stuck in and just give it a bash and do as well as you can. It sounds really daunting at the start, but sometimes you get to a company and they'll say, yes, we'll take 3. So you can make a phone call and place 3 students, and then for the rest of the day you're struggling to place students. Do you know what I mean? So
Yes,
we,
yes.
we are aware of that sometimes you'll hit your 10 hours and you won't have placed everybody, but it's just you let us know when you're you can do a daily check-in with me if you want. Like, you can send me a quick email and say, this is where I'm at. I have 5 hours left. I have placed X amount of people. I have X amount left to place. If it gives you a bit of comfort, and then I can go, right, well, here. And if you're stuck, you can always ask me what I would do, and I can give you advice on what way to Google and the way that I would do it, if that's helpful. But I wouldn't fixate on the fact that you're being allocated 10 hours. I would just get stuck in and try and make as many phone calls as possible, because the more phone calls you make, the more likely you are to get people placed. And sometimes they do take 3 or 4, and often you'll find that they'll take 2, because one student's language skills will be better than another, and you can buddy them up.
Um, yes, yes, indeed. The student skills, language skills are different. Yes, I understand. In terms of research on Google, there's no problem doing a research on Google.
No problem with that.
You don't have your own database.
No. So this spreadsheet here, the Workplace Master, is our database that we're going to start building up. So we have got a number of places already there that you would start with to try and get them placed. And if you go through that whole list and reach out to everybody on that list, and you've got places left, or you've not got anybody placed, then you start. So you start off with this. This is our database, and then once you've exhausted this resource, then you go on to Google. When you are Googling and reaching out to new companies, you'll log it on this database, so that going forward we won't have to do the Google research as we go.
Yeah, yeah. Yes, I understand. So I'll start within this database and do the communications and phone calls
Yeah.
in order to place the students. There is no more than 3 students per company. Is it true?
We prefer not to, because if the company falls through at the last minute, then that's 3 placements. Like, if we need them to take 3 or 4, then we can, but we would prefer that there's only 2, because if the company or the placement falls through at the last minute, then you're looking for more. You know what I
Yes.
mean?
And on the initial communication, I explained that you will receive 4 CVs, for instance, and they can choose from 2 to 4 CVs, because
Yeah.
it gives them a little bit of liberty,
I would just say,
freedom.
what I generally say is, please see attached our CVs. Please let us know which students you would be interested in. And then they'll come back then saying, oh, well, we'll take this one or this one. Or if they take like 5 or 6, you really have to say to them, are you sure? Because that's a lot of students. Will you be able to manage? But yeah, I would just let them choose. So you send out all the CVs and then let them choose. And then as students get placed, you reduce the CVs that you're sending.
Yes, yes. And I wanted to talk about something else. I've collaborated with a company uh, w- which had headquarters are in UK, United Kingdom, and it's called Prolingo Language School, and it's an English language school. But the particularity of this school is that is online,
Okay.
and they can be on their training period with the company and have online lessons of English. That helps.
Okay.
Uh,
No, we do actually do English lessons ourselves, but let me say that to Kat, and we'll get back to you on that. If you want to send that in an email, I will forward it on to Kat, and we can have a conversation about that. That sounds helpful, though.
yes, it might help because it is an online school,
Yeah,
and they can go to their training and then uh, go back to their home and have English lessons, or they might have English lessons before they come to Portugal, which this is the ideal,
yeah,
is to learn a little bit more English. And that school gives the chance for the students to have an exam of the level of the English they belong to. So they have exams for students for them to know it's B1, it's B2,
yeah.
or even with that access, they can use that for their profession as well.
Perfect. Well, if you put it into an email for me, I can have a
Yes,
chat with Kat to see.
I will do
Um,
that. I
so
will.
with regards to the work placement, we have a weekly meeting on a Wednesday morning um, with the whole team. Um, it would be expected that you come to it because it is quite important. Um, it goes through any groups that are coming up, and we have conversations on whether we think they're viable and what's been confirmed and what needs to be done on each project. So it's a time for a bit of feedback. So you'll be able to say, well, I've placed 5 or I've placed 2 or I'm struggling, and it's the time where you can say it to everybody, and you'll get other people giving you ideas on how to complete the tasks. So it is really helpful to be there, and it's a good communication
And
forum for everybody.
what time is it, the meeting?
It's at 11, I think. It's 11 o'clock in Irish time on a Wednesday
It's
morning.
the same. It is the same as Portugal. The
Yeah,
same.
oh, sorry, then yeah, it's 11 o'clock.
Same time.
But I'll get invitations sent out to everybody that's starting. So, but it's good to know what's going on and what's coming up, and it'll give you an idea of how many hours you're going to be available in the future and the ability to plan around it. And it lets you know if there's any issues on other groups that you might get switched to, so you're aware of everything that's going on. Um, so apart from that, sorry,
Yes.
I was going to say, do you have any more
Because
questions?
I'm starting here. I would like to do daily communications to you
Yeah,
because
of course. Yeah, that's no problem. So
uh,
I work mornings, so I'm here every morning. So you can send me an email. Because our work placement team is growing, I'll probably set up a weekly meeting just for the work placement team to let people know where they are and see if they need any help. But yeah, there's no problem. We have a group. It's the Google chat that you can use whenever if you need to contact me, and I'll give you as much help as I can. And if you want to send me an email every day, or if you want to have a chat, we're on a virtual office, so everybody is there. So we'll be able to chat through that as well. So there is a lot of support there. Once you log in and you've got the virtual office, everybody is there. You just shout out a name and we'll all be there. But I'm here every morning, so I'll be able to help you out.
yes, the communications are made in English or are made in Portuguese.
Well, for me, it'll have to be English because I only speak English. But we do have 2 girls that speak Portuguese as well. So if you want to speak to them in Portuguese, but it's a multinational group, you see, so you'll find a language to communicate to somebody in. Everybody speaks lots of different languages, so
Yes, no problem. I speak Portuguese, so that's why I was asking, because we are trying to communicate companies in Portugal. But yes, the first communication might be in English, and through the phone, I can speak in Portuguese if they feel more comfortable
yeah,
too.
that's perfect.
Or um, although I am starting with that database because I know that the companies they write their own feedback on their site, correct?
Yeah,
And some of the feedbacks are positive, and that is great because that's another advantage that I may present to the company. Look, other companies tried it and they liked it.
yeah,
They thought the exchange was very positive, or they thought they could communicate very well with students, and they could bring it back in terms of ROE, return on employee. Um, that was what I'm talking about. So I need to present positive points
yeah,
so that I could influence as well positively their strategy choice, to influence a positive strategy, a positive answer. But I do understand. May I use your templates?
yes, of course you can. And just modify them so that it doesn't look like we're spamming the companies. But I use a general template and change it up and change the language. But yeah, I will send you on when we get some hours, I will send you on the template that I use and what I say as a rule of thumb. I just modify it for each industry. That's what I would modify because
Yeah.
certain industries look for certain words.
I'd like to ask as well, while we're working, I think we have an access to a link to count our working hours.
Yeah, there's a timesheet. Let me just show you. Oh, so this, I'm going to unfilter it for you to show you how to filter it. So this is the timesheet master. Oh, it's glitching on me. It doesn't want to filter. And when you get it, it has everybody's. So what we do is we highlight across like this, and you go to data, filter views, create new temporary filter view, and then we will filter. Your name will be on here, but I'll just use my name. And we log everything. So
We write the date in here. On the second column, we write the date and the start time that we started working at the end time that we started working.
no, you log everything that you're doing. So for example, let me go up to yesterday.
Imagine that I'm on the
Oh,
first service, of course, I will be writing emails to the companies. So I will specify writing emails to companies from this time to another time on that date. And how do I specify? I may put the initial communication template, for instance.
no, so what will happen is, so see this, where are we? This one, see 195. When I was showing you the inquiry master list and I was saying we get a project number, do you remember?
Yes,
Once it goes active, we get a project number and the project, that's how you will log what you're working on. So when you go into the timesheets, for example, sorry, I'm going the wrong way. So for example, we've got a couple of projects running at the minute. You will go into the date, say today's date. These will auto-populate and you will put in the time that you started. So say, I'm just doing this as an example, 11:42, and say I did 2 hours working on the same project. You would fill in the time that you finished. You put which company, which would be VEA, and then you will put the project number. So at the minute I have a number of projects running, so I'll put 235, i.e. VEA. So you will be allocated, say 10 hours on this project number. And then in this, you'll be doing, so if you're reaching out in any way, if you're reaching out by email, if you're reaching out by phone, you would put in work placement coordination. And then you can say emails, you can put in here emails and phone calls to placements. And that's the way you will log it.
And I don't specify to which placements I called.
No, because the AI is embedded in the work placements master. So we'll be able to see, you'll be logging everything on the work placements master spreadsheet of who you called. So if you call somebody that's already on it, you will change, let me stop sharing this one and I'll go into this one. So when you go into this, so say, for example, today you decided you're going to ring this human skills HR, you will change this last contact date to today, and we'll be able to track how many calls you've made. And then when you're Googling and adding in companies, we'll also be able to see who it tracks and logs who you've called. Does that make sense? So
More or less, but
yeah,
experimenting this, it will make more. While I get experience on this, it will make more sense.
it will.
I understand. But for instance, as I'm noticing, each sheet is for a different country. Like each for you got Croatia, you got the schools. Each
The
sheet is for
schools are,
Log the
We
workplace.
actually don't.
Is
We only
it?
work on this page. See this work placement? This is the only page that we log and we work on. I don't know what this Croatia one's new. I need to speak to Peter and see what it is. And the rest are all locked, so we can't work on them. It's only this page that we work on, and it's you can filter it per country, but everything that you work on is from this one sheet.
Everything that you call is from the sheet. Okay, it is from this sheet. If
Yes.
there is another company that I Google it, I'm not going to Google it in here. I'm going to Google on the internet. How do you get track of that?
Well, because you're logged in through the company web, so you'll be given an email and you'll log on through the Google. And because you're going to be Googling it through your profile, the company can track what you Google.
Okay. So imagine that um, the company needs to have more companies from Portugal on this database.
Yes,
Then I'll go to Google and I try to add on more companies so we can have more diversity and more placements going. Even if there is uh, uh, no project number, even if there are not yet students available to place in there, I'll go and I can prospect to the
yes,
prospection of the
yes,
companies, so I can actually start adding more companies, because some of them will say no,
yeah,
lots of them will say no, as you
yeah,
said. You Google lots of them and only two said yes. So we need to have more diversity in here, more companies in here,
yes,
correct?
yeah.
And the template that you'll send me, that's the one that I will uh, try to communicate with. May I communicate in English and then after in Portuguese?
If you feel more comfortable, if you feel that you're going to get better responses by communicating in Portuguese, then communicate in Portuguese. It's just I wouldn't be able to because I don't speak Portuguese and they'll
No,
respond.
it's okay. I am just asking that. I have
If you think that the companies are going to be more responsive to you reaching out in Portuguese, reach out in Portuguese. If you think you'll get a better response
I'm
rate.
not sure yet about that behavior. That's why I am thinking about making a communication in English and then below exactly the same communication but in Portuguese. So they choose the language. The companies will choose the language
And
which they
yeah, if you
actually.
think that's going to be effective, give it a try and see how you get on.
Yeah, I will try that just to get the feedback.
Yeah,
And if they do more in Portuguese or they do more in English, and then I'll choose, because at this moment I don't have that information. So
yeah,
yeah, that's what I was talking to. So first is the email, but I leave my contacts, correct?
yeah.
Um, and I use the logo of the company because I am communicating through the company. It's not me alone.
Yes, so there's a signature that you can put on the bottom of your emails, which would have the company logo.
It will have the company logo. It will have my email of the company, and we will have the phone number on WhatsApp that you will give me one.
Yeah. Well, there's a company phone number that you can use. It's the general number.
Oh, okay, okay. And are the calls typed?
They're all
Because
done on Zoom, so they're logged on Zoom. I'm not sure if they're recorded. I would have to ask.
yes, yes, they might as well be recorded, because we go back and we see what we should change on the communication. So, um, but the company will need to agree on being
Yeah,
recorded, because they might
yeah,
not agree
yeah,
on that.
that's true.
Okay,
Okay.
I understand.
Um, okay,
I'm
well,
sorry, I had so many
yeah, no,
questions.
no, you're all right. It's good to have so many questions because we've recorded this as a training session. So hopefully we've covered all the questions that anybody else might ask. Have you got any more questions? Because if not, we can leave it
I
there.
will. I certainly will,
Yeah,
but not
that's no
now.
problem. If you have any questions, you can just send me an email and I'll do my best to answer them. And if not, I will find out where we can get the answer from.
Okay,
Okay?
okay, okay.
Alrighty. Well, it was nice meeting you and I look forward to
You
working with you and we'll be in contact, okay?
Okay, okay. Bye-bye. Have a
Bye.
nice day.